Here we go. Hello and welcome to Peace, Love, and Robots. It's a podcast about everything and anything and all that is in between. I'm your host, Jeremy, and this is Season 2, Episode 7 for October 20th, 2021. I would be remiss if today I did not wish a very happy birthday to my firstborn, my first son, the original of the species. I stole that from you too, but I call him that all the time because he was our first, my son Josiah, who turns 20 years old today. Whew. It's weird. I feel like I was just 20. But now I'm the father of someone who's just 1 year away from being old enough to drink. And it's weird because in a lot of ways, he's one of the reasons that I drink. Not really. I'm too poor to drink. I have 4 kids. I'm too poor to drink. Anyway, this podcast is brought to you by the ads you hear at the beginning and the end of the show. So if you stay around to the end, like I just talked through to the end of the song, I'll forever be in your debt. Hey, I'm just about $1 away from getting my third payout from Spreaker. Make it so I don't lose as much money podcasting as I have over the last few years. But yeah, so listen to the ads, please. I know they're even like targeted locally. I've heard like ads for Rochester, but then when I was traveling, I heard ads for other places. It was very weird. But anyway, listen to the ads. So there's an old saying that goes, never meet your heroes. You know, it's a warning. Don't meet the people you've turned into little gods, little G gods, or you'll eventually discover that they have feet of clay. They're only human after all, flesh and blood. I would like to add a modern twist to this old saying. Never follow your heroes on social media. I know, it might be tempting. Now, who want to know what the people they admire are like when the cameras are quote-unquote turned off? Who wouldn't like to know what their heroes are into or what they're not into? It sure sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? You know, even 20 years ago, I didn't know what books my favorite TV stars were reading or what movies or restaurants my favorite pro wrestlers would attend or visit when they're in different towns. I wouldn't know what comic book writers I followed were what their stance was politically because there was no social media. But now it's difficult if you follow them on social media because eventually you're going to find out that your heroes have feet of clay. Eventually, you'll discover they're far from perfect, or they'll endorse something that you might not like. Now, I have a pretty high tolerance for most things. I know that a lot of the people I admire may not be into the same things I am when it comes to entertainment or politics or even religion. I've come to kind of expect that. But sometimes there's something I just can't stomach. I can't endorse. I can't even forgive it, I guess. Maybe I can forgive it. But for me, I draw the line at one thing: personality tests. More specifically, the Enneagram. And one of my heroes, who I won't bother naming, he did an entire podcast on how wonderful the Enneagram is, and I was bummed out, man. Now, if you don't know what the Enneagram is, that's okay. Just pretend you have a friend that's really into horoscopes and astrology. And if you have another friend who thinks they're too smart for horoscopes, but they're really into their personality type, instead of saying, well, I'm a Gemini, so I don't really get along with Scorpios, but I really gel with Capricorns, they say other gobbledygook, like, I'm a 3-wing 4, and I have a hard time accepting correction from people who are 7s. Yeah, I just felt crazy saying that statement. So yeah, the Enneagram is basically horoscopes for people who think they're too smart for astrology. And it's become a trend among a lot of people, including Christian self-help circles. And apparently the best way to get to know who you are is to assign yourself a number, put yourself in a narrow box, and then use that to be as an excuse for your poor behavior and flaws. Because why accept that you're a broken human being who needs help? That's just too easy, right? Why not just label yourself and make that label your scapegoat for why you can't or won't change? I know. Sometime someone is going to be out there saying, oh, well, it's how God made you. We're just figuring out how to work together with our own unique personalities. I don't know about that. Last I heard, God isn't responsible for our bad behavior. And if you think God made you flawed, then I don't think we believe in the same God. We made ourselves flawed. It ain't God's fault. But I do have a bias. I hate personality tests in general. The Enneagram, the Myers-Briggs, whatever your flavor is, it's because labeling yourself is basically giving yourself a crutch for not being able to change. And if you want to look at it as a person of faith, it's basically saying that your sin is unique to you or your personality type, so you can't possibly find a way to change that about yourself. It's a cop-out. It's lazy. And man, it's annoying. You know, I once took a personality test as part of a job interview. It turns out that I wasn't cut out for the job because they totally didn't hire me because of it, which is kind of illegal from what I understand, but what do I know? It wasn't recent. It was a long time ago. I just don't like using labels as excuses. You are more than your personality type. You're more than a number. When you're being an awful person, you're being an awful person. Let me give you an example from my own life. I was a pretty awful person last week when I got mad at a gas station attendant for not being nice to me. Yeah, I was going the wrong way. Granted, I was doing all the right things before that, and he shut the pump off. He was on kind of a power trip. I was just not being nice to him either. And I'm pretty sure I can say that it was because I'm a 4 and he was definitely a 1, and we go together like oil and water. That's a much simpler explanation to say that I was frustrated with his poor customer service and he was just being a jerk. Well, I was just being a jerk too. And maybe I'm being condescending because I'm an INFJ, or maybe, just maybe, I was just having a bad day. Let's go with that. I was having a bad day. So personality tests suck. People own your flaws. It's way easier than trying to affix some kind of label to it as a cop-out. Do the work to change yourself. I don't know. Yeah, what do you think? Feel free to let me know by sending me an email at peaceloveandrobotspod@gmail.com or leave me a voicemail at 585-371-8986. That's 585-371-8986. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to see more content from me, you can check out my Substack at peaceloveandrobots.com. That's peaceloveandrobots.com or zaire.substack.com. I post a new column every Monday and Friday. That's 3 times the content from me every single week, including the transcript for this show, and future shows will be available there every Wednesday. I'd love to have you subscribe over there. You can even get it sent to your email. It's that easy, guys and gals. You don't even have to visit a website. Just visit your email, and it'll be right there. Yeah. Peace, love, and robots. It's more important to know your blood type than your personality type.